Welcome to my class, student. It's class 8 English. It so happened this is chapter 3, the self is giant. This is session 2. We are going to do the text of the story, that is the story, next part of the story. In the first part, what we have learned about a selfish giant who didn't allow the children to go inside his garden, and he put up a notice board. It was written, it was announced, trespassers will be prosecuted. The garden was very lovely. The children didn't get any place to play, though they were very unhappy. Now, what happened to this part? Let's see. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the selfish giant, it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it, as there were no children, and the trees forgot to blossom. You know, those 12 peach trees, they were full of pink and golden blossoms during springtime. Now those trees did not have any flowers. They forgot to blossom, and spring didn't arrive to the garden because there were no children, and little birds also didn't care to sing in the garden because children were not there. So whom we find here? We find only winter there. Only winter. Giant, no, there was only winter. Only in the giant's garden, it was still winter. See, the picture is showing you. See, outside the gate there is springtime. Here you are seeing green grasses and everyone, birds are there. But inside the gate, in the garden, it's all winter. See, snow is there. Everywhere snow, it is totally covered with snow because winter has not left the place. But outside the garden there is spring. See, birds are there, green grass is there, trees are there. Once a beautiful flower put its head out from the grass. But when it saw the notice board, it was so sorry for the children that it slipped back into the ground again and went off to sleep. Now, what does it show? It shows a little flower. She tried to see what is going there, if children have come or not, because spring has come. But when the flower saw the notice board, it said, oh, selfish giant has done this. Now, it again went back into the garden and slept. The only people who were pleased were the snow and the frost. Here you are seeing personification. Snow is personified as a person, and frost, because in winter time you find snow and frost. So here you are seeing personification. The writer has personified the snow and the frost. They were only pleased because the garden everywhere in the country they were not allowed, but in the garden they were allowed. They don't have to leave the garden because it's winter there. Spring has forgotten this garden, they cried. Very happily they cried. Oh, spring has forgotten this garden. So we will live here all the year round. Now the entire year we will here. We don't have to leave the place. The snow covered up the grass with a great white cloth, because snow is a white thing. And the frost painted all the trees silver. Then they invited the north wind, another character, north wind, to stay with them, and he came. So, who are there present? Snow, frost and north wind. They all stay, they all are allowed to stay only in winter. So everywhere in the country they were not allowed, but in the garden, in the giant's garden, as winter is there, they all are there. He was wrapped in furs and he rode all day around about the garden and blew the chimney pots down and said, this is a delightful spot, because there he was free to do whatever he wants to. We must ask hell on a visit. Why don't we call our another friend, that is hell? For where they are friends, they will enjoy in the garden, because winter is still there. So what North Wind has said, we must ask hell on a visit. So the hell also came, and what he used to do? Every day for 3 hours he rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slates, and then he ran round and round the garden as fast as he could go. Now what you are seeing, the giant was saying, the giant said once that this is my garden, so I am only allowed to play here, and he built a wall around the garden. But is he playing? No, he is not playing. Who are playing? The persons who are playing is snow, frost, north wind, hail. These people are playing because they are very happy to find winter in the garden. He was dressed in grey and his breath was like ice. Hell was dressed in grey and his breath was like ice. So all of these friends, all 4 friends, were very happy to be in the garden, because in other parts of the country spring has come and they were not allowed to go there. But in Giant's garden they were very happy. I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming. Now who is saying? Giant is saying, said the selfish giant as he sat at the window and looked out at his cold white garden. When he came from his friend's house, what was the garden? He was full of greenery. Children were playing. Beautiful flowers are there. But after his building a wall around the garden, he is seeing only that cold white garden. I hope there will be a change in the weather. He didn't understand. Because of his selfishness, spring is not coming to his garden. Spring is everywhere outside his garden. But he didn't understand this. But the spring never came, nor the summer. The autumn gave golden fruit to every garden, but to the giant's garden, she gave none. See, no, here see spring, summer and autumn. They all rejected the garden. Who was there permanently? It was winter. See here, the giant is there looking from the window. What is happening? Only the winter is here. See here, frost. Now here, persons are there, friends, they are all there. See, one more friend, they have invited now. North wind, hail, frost, snow, they are all enjoying in the garden. And the giant is thinking, why spring is not yet come? Where is the spring? He is too selfish, he said. Who said? Hail said. So it was always winter there. And the north wind and the hail and the frost and the snow danced about through the tree. So who said this? He is too selfish. Autumn has said this. And who are very happy there? North wind, hail, frost, snow. They were very happy. They were dancing about through the trees. One morning, the giant was lying awake in bed when he heard some lovely music. How could he hear some lovely music? Because it was all snow, all winter in the garden. But one day he heard a lovely music. It sounded so sweet to his ears that he thought it must be the king's musicians passing by. He thought some king's musicians were passing by. So here music is being played, and so it's a part of the music that he is going to heard. But was it that? No. Snow, frost, north wind, hell, all these have been presented as characters of persons. So I have told now, these have been personified. North wind is the chilly wind and hell is the hailstorm. Now, it was really only a little linnet singing outside his window. It was not magician passing by. It was a little linnet was singing outside his window. But it was so long since he had heard a bird singing in his garden that it seemed to him to be the most beautiful music in the world. See, it was just a little linnet was singing, but after a long time he heard such a beautiful sound, such a beautiful song. So he thought that this was the most beautiful music in the world. Then the hill stopped dancing over his head, and the north wind ceased roaring, and a delicious perfume came to him through the open casement. And what he found? He found that hell is not dancing now, that north wind is also ceased roaring, and delicious perfume is coming through his casement. Now word meaning linnet, see, and this is casement, window that opens on hinges like a door. A brownish songbird found in Europe. I believe the spring has come at last, said the giant. He jumped out of bed and looked out. See, through his window he is seeing linnet, and what he thought, now spring has come, I think. So he jumped out of bed and looked out. Now, what have we learned? We have learned here in the garden when there was winter, who were there present? North wind, hell, then snow, frost. All these were very happy, dancing around the trees because they thought spring had forgotten the garden. And the giant was also thinking, why spring was not there? But what autumn said? Autumn said, this was a selfish giant, so we will not go there. Who will not go there? Spring, summer and autumn. But one day, a little linnet sang, and a sweet, delicious perfume was there in the garden. The giant thought some king's musicians were passing by, but it was not that. And the linnet's song, after a long time, seemed to be the most beautiful music in the world to him. Then he jumped off his bed and he looked out from his window. What did he see? We will do in the next session. Till then, go through the story, read it, and you will find many superlative degrees in it. Most beautiful. All the superlative degree of adjective you will comparison, degree of comparison, adjective degree of comparison you will find in this chapter. So, in the next class, we will go through the next part of the story. Thank you.